Hello, everybody, and welcome to Choosing the Right Time to Start. You might want to grab a pen and paper or a little notebook or something to write some notes in, or even your iPad, because today's workshop is going to be super practical and get you some really great ideas to get started with the toilet learning journey. So I'm super excited to have you here. I know that this is going to be a whole lot of content that is really going to make your life so much easier. Now, you're in the right place if you're actually ready to start toilet training your child, but you're not sure what to do or where to start, or you want to save money by saying goodbye to daytime nappies, which I think is probably all of us. And you're in the right place if you're expecting another baby and you want to toilet train your toddler, or you may already have a toddler who's in childcare and you wonder actually how you're going to toilet train them if other adults are looking after them during the week. So my name's Laura Morley. I'm a parenting coach here at Lulu, and you can find me on Facebook or YouTube. And generally, I'm hanging out with other parents talking wheeze and poos because I love helping other people. And this is my family. I have 2 boys and a little girl, and we live near the beach, have a really fantastic life, I have to say. I love doing parenting workshops, and I'm either doing private coaching sessions, or I run workshops throughout New Zealand. I also do online workshops as well for people outside of Auckland and for those overseas. So you can see that my life is pretty busy. And just to top it off, I decided I'd write a book. This is Potty Talk, which is my toilet training how-to guide. And I'm going to show you how you can get your hands on it at the end of this webinar, so stay tuned. Now, day 1 of toilet training is about to begin. So let's dive in. Grab your piece of paper. Hope you've got a cup of coffee or something, or your glass of wine, and that you're ready to take some notes and to get some great ideas to make toilet training easier. Now remember, toilet training is not rocket science, but there are things that you're going to be able to do to make it a whole lot easier for your child. And one of the main things is actually choosing the right time. It is going to be one key determining factor for how long it's going to take to toilet train your child. So today we're actually going to be looking at what are the 5 signs that your child could be showing right now to say, yes, I am ready to begin. So before we dive into that, what I want to do is just ask you, where are you at with the journey? Do you have a potty in your house? Have you started putting your child on the potty or the toilet? Have you got them any undies so far and put them into it? Or are you still thinking about it and wondering when the right time is going to be that you make that transition? Are they waking up dry from an afternoon sleep? You know, are you starting to talk wheeze and poos with them, and do they follow you to the toilet? Where are you kind of at the moment? And the second thing that I want to talk to you about is really the journey that I went on when I first started toilet training my first child. To say it was interesting is rather an understatement. I really had a lot of motivation to toilet train my son because I wanted him to get into a private kindy and he needed to be toilet trained. And we had a long weekend coming up. I knew that my husband was going to be able to be home with me for 4 days. And I thought because my child was 2.5, it must be the right time. I had some friends who were toilet training at the same time. And to be honest, I was really tired of buying nappies and changing 2 little bottoms because I had 2 kids by that stage. And I thought, I better do something about this. Well, that's my door slamming. Sorry about that. With toilet training, the wheels fell off because things didn't go the way I expected. I only learnt one method of toilet training when I went to this toilet training workshop that I went to when my son turned 2. And when those strategies didn't really work for us in our family, I really felt really stuck because we were in this situation where sometimes he'd use the toilet and sometimes he flat out refused and would have a tantrum, and then he'd go and have an accident somewhere, and I just didn't know how to overcome it and what to do next. I really wanted to go out places. Like I still wanted to go and see my coffee group friends. I wanted to still go to the play group that we went to on a Tuesday and Thursday, and I wanted to do mainly music on the Wednesday. But I was so nervous about him having accidents in those places, and with having a baby as well and trying to juggle that, I just felt really overwhelmed. And I found it probably was not the best time to try and toilet train my child when I had a 6-week-old baby, because I wasn't getting full nights of sleep. I was still feeling quite emotional and quite hormonal, and I got really, really frustrated when my child didn't pick it up as quickly as I would have liked. So what I'd love to do, and I see my job as a parenting coach, is to really give you the shortcuts, give you strategies that actually work, and share with you the blueprint that I developed. And I used it to toilet train my 2 children, and then literally hundreds of other children throughout New Zealand and Australia. I also want to give you confidence and ideas that actually work, right? Because you can Google a whole lot of stuff and they start giving you conflicting ideas, and then you try those things and it doesn't work and you feel like you're back at square one again. So I don't want you to kind of have the same pitfalls and the mistakes that I made. So in this webinar, we're going to look at the signs of readiness. When is the right time to start? Toilet training when you have another baby due, or you're juggling paid work outside of the household and trying to toilet train your child. And I'm going to share with you some things that you can start doing literally today, as in you watch this webinar and then you start implementing some of these ideas today or tomorrow with your child. So it's not going to be rocket science, right? So the first question I want to ask you is, I wonder how many nappies so far you've changed this month. How many do you change in a day? And actually, how much is that costing you? Because when people join my private Facebook group, Lulu Crew, almost all of them say how much they're looking forward to saving money and putting that money into family holidays, or getting their hair done, or going out to dinner with their partner, or anything else but nappies, right? So if we can help you to get your child out of nappies sooner, then that's going to help you to be able to put money into something else instead of disposable nappies, or even cloth nappies do obviously cost as well. And the second thing is do you have a date in mind of when you're going to start? So are you going to start this month or next month, or when are you thinking that you might start encouraging your child to get out of daytime nappies? Lots of people talk to me about a magic window, and they say, what happens if my child's showing the signs of readiness and I feel like they're really, really into it, but it's just not the right time for our family? Am I going to miss this magic window? And what I normally say is that the signs of readiness that you see, absolutely, if they're highly motivated and they're really into it, you are going to find toilet training easier. But it's not a magic age. It's a stage that every child comes to, and they come to it at different ages. So it's not like you can suddenly go, right, my child has turned 2, that's it. They need to start wearing nappies from their second birthday, undies from their second birthday, and just have nappies for sleep time. It doesn't really work like that. There are going to be multiple windows of opportunity, and they're going to be different for every child. Now, with toilet training, there's basically 2 main factors that need to work in together for your child to be really successful. There's physical readiness and ability, and the behavioural readiness and motivation. So what we know is that physically, a lot of children from about 15 months of age are actually ready. And in fact, many of our generation were toilet trained by the time we were 18 months old. But it's the behavioural readiness and motivation that's the more challenging part, particularly for those children that spend long, long amounts of time in disposable nappies. There is often a lack of interest or lack of motivation towards getting out of those nappies. Let's face it, if you can go into the play area, keep playing with your toys and do a wee or a poo without the inconvenience of having to go to the toilet, why would you change that, right? So there's some children that are motivated and they do just want to stop wearing nappies, and they do want to be a big kid wearing undies. But for a whole lot of them, they're just quite happy to play and keep weeing and pooing in their nappy. And that's where it becomes more of a challenge for us as parents. And that's where I actually spend a lot of time helping parents, is around motivating behaviour and how you actually switch a kid on and get them excited about the idea of using the toilet instead of a nappy. So let's dive in now, and if you want to grab a pen and paper, you're welcome to kind of pause this webinar now and go and grab your tablet or something to record your ideas and record some information on. The first thing that we're going to do in terms of the signs of readiness is look at this idea of bladder control. So you want your child to have approximately 1.5 to 2 hours worth of bladder control. In other words, they can hold on to wees for about that long. That's going to make toilet training a whole lot easier if they're not weeing every 20 minutes, right? And so bladder control is a really important thing that you can start watching out for now. So one of the things they might do is wake up dry from an afternoon sleep. Or you might put them in undies for 2 hours and just see how often they're running around and see, you know, how things are going. So that kind of warms them into it. The second is awareness. Your child may stop and pause during a bowel movement, and they may take themselves off to a quiet spot. You know, when they put that screensaver face on and you just know that they're doing a poo. That awareness is showing that they are actually knowing that they're doing a poo. Or they might take themselves off to a quiet spot and they might have their happy place where they do their poo each day. If you've got your toilet shadow that follows you, your child will want to play with the toilet paper, help you flush the toilet, and generally have a good old chat while you're in the toilet. They're showing an interest in the toilet and obviously you using it, which is another sign of readiness around this whole idea of awareness. Another sign of readiness is that your child can follow simple instructions. Now, this is not essential, but it helps if your child can pull up and push down their pants. Now, you can actually start getting them ready for that by doing that in the morning when you get them ready, before breakfast or after breakfast when they get changed. You can start encouraging them to start pulling up and pushing down their pants and getting themselves ready. And also communicating using language that they have done a wee or a poo. And this is not essential again, but it does help if they have some kind of way of communicating that they have done a wee or a poo. Now, some people do try and wait for the weather to be warmer, but this is not essential. If you want to toilet train in the middle of winter, that's absolutely fine. Go with when your child's ready, but some people do prefer to wait until autumn or spring or summer because they find that their child's wearing less layers. Now, it's all very well saying, is your child ready? But the question is, are you ready? The first thing you want to look for is that for you personally, if you're going to be toilet training your child, that there's no major changes. So if you're about to move house or you're doing some major renovations, if you're starting a new job or you're experiencing relationship tension like separating from your partner or having a baby within the next month, you're not going to be in that optimum positive emotional space because you're going to be trying to juggle everything else going on in your life and just keep everything together, right? And so really what you want to do is you want to have support from others when you are toilet training your child, especially for the first 4 days. And you want to be in that feeling of that calm confidence where your child's in a normal routine and you're in a normal routine and you feel ready to kind of make the next step in helping them walk the bridge that is toilet training, right? It's not a mountain to climb. It's not something you need to dread and that you feel really anxious about. It's something if you feel calm and confident about, then that calm confidence will then rub off on your toddler and they'll start feeling like it's definitely something achievable that they can do and they won't get nervous or anxious as they go on to the next stage. So what would be really cool is if you could pause this webinar now, and I'd love you to answer these 2 questions. The first one is, how many signs of readiness is your child showing right now? And the second one is this actually the right time to start? Or can you see the big picture? You have a family holiday coming up, you're about to start renovations and all these other things going on. And although this may be a window of opportunity, you're going to let it pass by until the next window of opportunity comes because you can see it's not the right time to start. So feel free to pause the video and just have a little think about that and write any notes for yourself on your piece of paper or on your tablet and just get some thought process around when is going to be the right time to start. You might even want to get out your calendar and actually start having a look at some dates where you're going to be available to start working towards your child being nappy free during the day. Now the next part is going to be toilet training when a new baby is due. So if you are not pregnant at the moment, then I recommend that you fast forward this little part of the video. But do be aware that when any kind of change happens, whether it's a new baby or anything else, like your child moves daycares or they have a different room in daycare, or your partner goes away on a holiday or a work trip, all of those kinds of changes are going to affect your child and cause them to have regression if the toileting routine is not really, really well established. So it's well worth thinking about choosing the right time when it's going to be a really settled time for your family. Now, if you're toilet training a toddler when a sibling is due, then you want to think of 2 factors if it's the mother who is pregnant that is also going to be toilet training her child. The physical ability of the person to get down on the floor 8 times a day, pull up and push down pants, and help support the child and, you know, be flushing poos into the toilet and everything else that goes on with it. And then the emotional readiness. So, you know, often women in their 3rd trimester are not as patient and they're not sleeping as well and they feel more irritable. And so that's not really ideal when you have to face a toddler who doesn't necessarily always want to use the toilet, might be having tantrums or prefers to use a nappy, and you're dealing with all the emotion around that. So you really want to choose a time for your child when they're in a normal routine, when they're showing the signs of readiness, and be aware that there could be some regression when the baby arrives, and this is really, really common. So they could be really well toilet trained, and then they'll start having accidents quite regularly as they get their head round this big change that's just happened for their family. The other thing to look at is how they cope with change. So some kids are really resilient and others are very anxious and nervous children. So if they're kids that don't kind of adapt to change particularly well, then be aware of the fact they are going to be more emotional when they toilet train, and trying to put too many changes into their life at once is really going to stress them out. Now, I know a lot of people watching this webinar will actually be working part-time or full-time out of the household. Now, I just want to say that I think being a parent is a full-time job anyway, and working part-time or full-time out of the household for paid employment and juggling toilet training in a busy schedule can feel a little bit overwhelming. So I want to make it easier for you, because if you're working part-time or full-time out of the house, obviously other people are going to be looking after your child, right? So before you start toilet training, have a chat with them. Talk about what they do to toilet train the kids at the centre if you've got your child in a daycare centre, or if you've got a nanny, talk about the ways that they like to toilet train kids. And together, put together a plan that's going to work for both of you. I recommend that you start with the first gear method at home, and you can find that method in the Potty Talk book. And then once your child is pretty confident with the skills developed in the first gear method, you can schedule at least 4 days to be based at home. Then once you find that your child is doing a lot better and that they're more consistently using the toilet or the potty, take your child back to the early childhood carer and get them to try and follow the same method as what you've been following. Now, obviously, if you put together a plan, it's going to make the transition a lot easier for both you and your child to be able to transition into other people looking after your child. That word consistency is really the key if you want to see your child do really, really well with toilet training and pick up the new skills very quickly. So consistency is all about using the same underwear and avoiding using disposables, because basically what it does is it causes confusion and it can really undermine all the great work that you do. Because if you say to your child, right, I'm going to put a disposable on you, you're essentially like putting the trainer wheels back on when they're learning to ride their bike. They're never going to learn to balance if they have trainer wheels, because there's always that fallback just in case. And it's exactly the same with putting them back into disposables. That's why I recommend that kids use absorbent underwear like wee pants, so that at least they can feel the wet close to their skin if they do have an accident. It's a great idea also to have the head cheerleader and the support crew. So that means who's actually going to be toilet training your child and who's going to be supporting that person in doing that. And also, when you are in the early childhood environment, there's obviously teams of teachers. So who is the teacher that's going to be toileting your child that day? And who is going to be supporting the child, so that there's someone that you can go to at the end of the day and you can kind of get a progress report of how your kid's gone, because they're actually that consistent person that your child can keep going back to when they do need to go to the toilet. Now, I do recommend in terms of consistency that for the first few days you want to reduce the variables by trying to use the same potties and toilets so that your child gets into a really good habit and routine. So here's some great things that you can do now to get your child ready for going nappy free during the day. And the first thing to do is to make sure that you've got the resources that you need. So some things with toilet training are just added extras, and some things are absolute essentials. So one of the essentials is kids not falling in the toilet. So you need some kind of toilet insert. And also you want a step stool, which is high enough so that their feet can be flat and grounded when they're sitting on the toilet. Some kind of absorbent underwear really helps. It will not only protect your carpet and your car seat, but also make you feel a little less insane if they're having lots and lots of accidents. And also some kind of insert for the car seat. So if your child does have a little accident, you know that you're not going to have to pull all the upholstery apart from your car seat and wash it all, but you'll be able to very easily just take out the little liner and wash that. Make sure you check the instructions from your car seat manufacturer to find the one that's right for you. Another thing that you can do now to get ready is to increase fluid and fibre. Make sure that your child's bladder is filling up with water, and it is emptying regularly, and that they've got really good amount of fibre in their diet so that they're pooing regularly as well. Now, it's important to make sure that before you start toilet training, you go and see your doctor or consult a dietitian if you're finding your child is having problems with poos, so that you can get on top of making sure that they have normal bowel and bladder function before you get started. Some people ask me about, like, should I move my kid to a big kid bed and out of their cot before I start toilet training? And that's really like personal preference. A lot of sleep consultants now are recommending that children stay in their cots as long as possible. But you will find with some children who toilet train, they just naturally day and night train themselves. So it is easier if they can get out of bed if they need to come and see you if they need to go to the toilet. Another thing is that you want to teach them the skills of hand washing so that they learn to wash their hands before they have a meal, and encourage them to practice taking up and down their pants. So pushing up and down their pants is a really great skill that they can start learning when they get dressed in the morning, or when they are about to hop in the bath. You know, teaching them those basic skills is going to make it easier when you start toilet training them. Introducing the language of toilet training, a great way you can do that is through books and reading stories to your child so that they start understanding the process and they've got the visuals of that. And also drawing attention to how big kids they know don't wear nappies anymore, for example, their cousins, so that they can go, oh wow, look how clever that kid is. He doesn't need to wear nappies anymore. He's wearing his digger undies now, and he just uses the toilet. So that your child's kind of getting those messages that that's what they're going to eventually do as well. The other thing to get them ready is to check that they have no medical issues. So I talked before about making sure that their diet is right. There are other things that can cause issues with teaching your child to use the toilet. These are kind of some of the major ones, which your doctor can obviously help you with, like constipation, a urinary tract infection, diabetes, and there's lots of other things as well. Just make sure that your child has no medical issues before you start toilet training. You might want to introduce toilet learning through play by getting a doll that has water that goes into the top and then water that comes out the bottom, and actually model the process for them. Anything that you can do to make it more playful, the more interested they're going to be. Create ownership and involve them in the process by getting them to choose the colour of the potty that they like, or give them some big kid underwear that they want and that's the colour that they like or has a character that they like on it, or a potty sticker. This one here is actually a dinosaur, as you can see, and you can see the before picture of just a black egg, and then when the kid wheezes on it, because you put it at the bottom of the potty, and when the child wheezes on it, the little dinosaur with the thumbs up comes up. And there's lots of different types of stickers that you can actually get, and you can find those on the Lulu website. So all the stuff that I'm talking about today, just jump on the Lulu website and have a look and see what's available. You could put the potty in the bathroom and start encouraging them to try and catch a wee when the bath is filling up, or when they follow you to the toilet, get them to sit on the potty and do their wees. And that's a really fun way of kind of introducing the process and normalizing it for them. You can also keep a record of when they're doing number ones or number twos and see if there's any pattern. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if your child poos 20 minutes after afternoon tea each day, to actually put them on the potty or the toilet at that time and hope that there's some poo action. Also, giving your child regular opportunities for no nappy time is a great way of warming them up into toilet training. So you really want to give them a chance to actually have some undies on and feel that wet close to their skin if they have an accident. But it's not all about them, it's also about you, and getting yourself ready and becoming more informed and making a plan will help you to feel so much more confident. And it's one of the things that I wish that someone had walked me through before I started toilet training my child. So for your action plan that you've been writing today, what steps are you going to do from here? You're welcome to pause this video and kind of reflect on this question. Is there some things that you need to buy? Is there some things that you need to set up? Do you need to start putting them in undies a little bit more often and knickers? Have a think about what you're going to do from here and give yourself at least 2 action points to do as a result of this webinar. Welcome back. I'm not sure why you turned up today. It may be because you would like to really support your child as best that you can to make that smooth transition from nappies to underwear so it doesn't feel really traumatic or stressful. Maybe you just don't know where to start. You're getting all this conflicting information from different sources. Maybe you've Googled it, you've talked to your mother-in-law, your coffee group friends, your daycare teachers, and it seems like it becomes a little bit overwhelming. Maybe you feel pressure from family or those people that you've been talking to move on from the nappy stage. Maybe changing nappies has become more challenging and it feels a bit more like a wrestling match, or like you have to pin your child down to try and convince them to actually change their pooey nappy. And you're really looking for that proven roadmap to help you navigate the stage. You're ready to save money on buying daytime nappies? Yes! And put that money into going on a holiday or get your hair done or something lovely. Or you're looking for a way to avoid the messy puddles on your carpet, which is probably everybody. I just hope from this webinar that you take away this one thing, and that is that toilet training does not have to be a stressful process. Remember this one thing, going on this journey and discovering strategies that worked really, really genuinely changed my family. And I really want to give you an adaptable plan that is something that you can use as a starting point as well in your journey. I'm giving you the process that I give lots of my private clients and those that come to workshops with me as well. Toilet training doesn't have to be messy. And I want to introduce you to this toilet learning game that I have developed. So I'm just going to take you off the screen share now so that you can see me in real life. Ta-da! Here I am. Yes, I'm the one who's been blabbering away to you. So I wanted to show you, if you grab a toilet training game, then I send it directly to your house. Okay, so it actually, if you let me know in the comments when you purchase it, I can actually put your child's name on it. So just let me know what their name is, and then they'll get their own little package sent to the door. Now in there will be a copy of the Potty Talk book. Here it is here. That's my toilet training how-to guide. Now I said before that it answers a lot of questions that people have about toilet training. It also shares with you 3 different methods of toilet training. It talks to you about how to get a poo on the loo. If your child is really a bit scared about pooing on the toilet and would rather poo in the pants, that's a real pain. And it also talks to you about toilet terror of kids who are genuinely scared, and shows you a whole lot of different ideas. Now, as you can see, it's not a super thick book, so you don't have to stress out thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to have to read a novel before I toilet train? And it's really easy to read, and it even has lots of pictures in there too. Okay, so this is your toilet training how-to guide that I can send to your door. The other thing in the game is a book for your child, so you can get a picture book to read with them as well. This is Sophia and Mason Learns to Use the Loo, and the first part of it is Mason Learns to Use the Loo, and then the second half of it is Sophia Learns to Use the Loo, and it basically just walks them through what to do and shows them the process in a really super easy way. It doesn't have too many words in it, so you know, hopefully your child will really enjoy that. Okay, now the other thing you get is some Sophia and Mason Learn to Use the Loo stickers with it as well, and a little box. Now it won't be made up like this, they'll be flat packed and you'll just have to put it together. Okay, so what this box is this becomes the treasure box that you put the stickers onto. So that's in the pack. You also get, in different packs have different colours and designs of these, but you get a little game to play with your child to motivate them. And you also get a little sticker that you can put into the toilet. You put it either 20 centimetres above the toilet line, the water line in the toilet, or you can put it at the bottom of the potty. And as soon as your child wheezes on it, a little character appears. There are different types of stickers depending on which game you order, which kind of theme it has. And then you also get some absorbent undies. So these ones here are obviously the dog ones. These are wee pants. The great thing about these is they look like cotton undies, but on the inside they have this hammock, which actually is made of beautiful soft bamboo. So nice. And that sits against your child's private parts. And then if they have an accident, then it will absorb the wheeze. Now these are not nappies, so you wouldn't use them for multiple accidents or anything like that. What you'd do is you'd use them as, you know, your child feels that there's some wheeze waiting to come out, does a little tinkle of wee in their undies on the way to finishing their wheeze in the toilet. They'll hold about 100 mils worth of wheeze. So those are available as well as part of the Lulu game. And again, you'll get a different colour or theme depending on which theme of box you choose. So if you want to check out the Lulu game, then you're welcome to go to my website and have a look at that. It's actually the best way that you can buy those kind of motivation things to be able to set your child up for success. Because really, as I said before, motivation is actually the key, right? If you want to be successful with toilet training, then motivating your child is the way that they're going to toilet train a whole lot faster. So I hope you found this workshop super useful. I'd love to hear your feedback in our private Facebook group. So don't forget to jump on over to Lulu Crew, ask some questions. There'll be parents in there that are toilet training at the same time as you, and I'll be in there each day answering your questions as well. So thanks so much for joining me for this webinar. If you found it useful, don't forget to share the 5-day challenge with your friends so that other people can get the benefit of finding out how toilet training does not have to be a messy and stressful process. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.